Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Twisted Meadows between our gray undead player MassFiends, and down at the bottom we have our blue undead player which is just AW. And now we're going to speed this up to the 2x mark, and I don't remember the last time I casted an undead versus undead match. I think I only did it once. So we'll have to see how this goes. We have a Lich coming out for our blue undead player. And for our gray undead player, also a Lich scouted out there with a blue ghoul. And now our gray player moving out with 5 ghouls there. And our blue undead player going after the Gnoll Brute Camp. And using those skeletal warriors to help creep out this camp. And our gray undead player, MassFiends, may be looking for his opponent, or perhaps looking for a bigger creep camp using those 5 ghouls. Also has a Rod of Necromancy as well. But nope, is not going to creep out, and moving towards the center now, along with our blue undead player as well. And quite a bit of skeletal warriors there with him. And it looks like they are going to clash here. Undead versus undead, Lich versus Lich. Lich takes a Frost Nova, and Lich Frost Novas the other Lich. So just trading Frost Novas there, and now both of them running away from their respective chasers. And ghouls now going to try and get away from the blue ghouls, which outnumber them, and going to try and surround some of these ghouls. And it doesn't look like he got the opportunity to do that. Did do quite a bit of damage to one of them. And we have skeletal minions here chasing this Lich in a circle. 194 health, 320 for the other. So lost much more health there on the gray Lich. And MassFiends at the shop here with a Boots of Speed. Now one speedy Lich hovering, power gliding, if you will, across the map. And I wonder if MassFiends is going MassFiends. That wouldn't be too surprising with the name, I suppose. And let's see, we have moving across the map here, and is he going to creep out again, or are we just going towards our opponent's bases? Doesn't look like either side really wants to creep out too much. And with the Lich there, has a little bit more experience, about a third or so the way to level 2. We'll have quite a bit advantage currently. One blue ghoul dies there, gives the Lich 40 experience for that death. And now they're just about even. The Lich takes a Frost Nova and now is in big trouble here. Has to town portal out of there. Should have town portaled out of there, or at least moved to a different area, but probably would have died regardless, even after he town portaled out of there. Now, Spirit Tower and a Nerubian Tower going up and trying to take out some of these Acolytes here. One Acolyte already dead. Another Acolyte looks like it will fall, and another one. So, MassFiends here in a bit of trouble. And now the blue Lich there taking some damage. And I think we are going to take the sound down just a scotch. It's a little bit loud, at least in my headphones, that is. And so that should do it there. And the blue Lich here down to 200 health and completely surrounded, almost surrounded rather, by those ghouls. And that cold should wear off soon. And now the Lich power gliding on out of there. Both of them have Boots of Speed, so neither one really going to catch up to the other one. Equal speed, if you will. A level 2 Lich versus only that level 1 Lich, as he died and didn't get that experience. But now maybe going after this Forest Troll Warlord camp would certainly get him level 2, maybe even close to level 3. And our blue Lich has to go home and stand on some Blight for a little bit there and heal back up, or at least get a Death Knight to do that for him. A Tome of Strength +2, and not too bad of an item, I suppose, for a Lich, because you always need health on such a low health hero, rather. Level 2 Lich now, and the Forest Troll Warlord will go down, and another Ogre Warrior, which should put him about halfway to level, a little bit more than halfway to level 3. And Rune Bracers have dropped for that Lich, and that's going to help tremendously in this fight against that, both of these Liches sharing Frost Nova and just blasting each other, taking turns hitting each other, and reducing that by 33% is going to be really useful. Lich down here now creeping out the Gnoll Overseer camp, and I don't think that's going to get him level 3. if he does, it's going to be by the skin of his ass. And this camp just about to go down, and they should go down at just about the same time here, so it's going to be kind of hard to see both of these items drop. And we have a Circlet of Nobility for that Lich, and a Claws of Attack for the other one, so I don't know which one's really better. I suppose Claws of Attack maybe, but Circlet of Nobilities are super, super good, particularly at the beginning of the game. And Dark Pact there gives a little bit more mana to our Grey Lich, and the Blue Lich takes a wicked shot there, and may actually lose, and no, it's going to Scroll of Town Portal out of there. And if you would have hit the other Lich, the Grey Lich here, with a Frost Nova, again, 33% reduction is really, really nice. And it's going to help out tremendously in this fight. We do have a Death Knight on the way for our blue undead player, and no other hero just yet for MassFiends. Level 3 Lich to a level 2 Lich who is very badly damaged. 100 health left. This Lich could probably come in here and get a snipe shot off. It looks like he's going to try and do that. Going to try and get in there, and these ghouls need to block him. And the other Lich now dead from Frost Nova. And no Acolytes, however, have died, and we do have a Death Knight out now, which will try and chase down this Lich, but probably not going to happen. Doesn't have Boots of Speed, doesn't have Unholy Aura either, so not going to happen. Now producing some Gargoyles there for and for MassFiends. Nothing just yet. That Halls of the Dead is coming along soon here. And he had a little bit of hard time getting that Halls of the Dead, as he did lose some of those Acolytes. So he had to produce those Acolytes first, then make the Halls of the Dead. Otherwise, if you make the Halls of the Dead, then of course you can't make any Acolytes, and that's going to be a problem. And that's one thing that the undead really suffer from in Warcraft 3, is that when you are extremely vulnerable while you're upgrading your main building. Just because if you lose some peasants, or Acolytes rather, in that process, you can't really build any Acolytes. You either have to totally cancel it, or just basically wait till it's done, which is usually the better option, is just wait till it's done. And that really hurts undead quite a bit in this game. I suppose there are other situations that could affect the other races just the same, but undead, that is a very, very weak point of undead there. And now down at the bottom, Gargoyles and Ghouls going after the Ogre Magic Camp here, and throwing down some Blight there. And an Acolyte coming here, and looks like he's going to make an expansion and put some Ziggurats up here to defend it, which is something you don't really see every day, is Ziggurats in front of somebody's haunted gold mine. Lich spots that and gets the kill there. I think he got that kill with 757 experience, and I think he stole that kill, which was really, really nice. A nice invisible Lich skill there, and a Tome of Intelligence on the ground, and we'll see who picks that up, either the Death Knight or the Lich. It usually goes good on the Death Knight. You always need death coils. Another Ghoul lost there to the Lich, and it's just going to Staff of Teleportation out of there. Oh my, talking is hard. And Lich now at 300 health takes a death coil there, but really doesn't do too much, only had 100 health. And Tome of Intelligence goes to the Lich, which I suppose could be the better bet, but you always need intelligence and mana on the Death Knight. Now Death Knight again, of course, for MassFiends. Had that out for a little bit now. Obsidian statue giving mana to that Lich. And looks like he's going after this Gnoll Brute Camp, and this Gnoll is totally lost here, running away from the air of the Gargoyles. And so that was very interesting. Level 2 Death Knight now, and a level 3 Lich to a level 1 and a level 3 Lich. But that Lich is quite a bit higher, nearly level 4. And now the blue undead player, is going to spot MassFiends here, going after this Forest Troll Warlord camp. And very, very vulnerable here with these creeps hitting on him. And we'll see if we can try and steal that Forest Troll Warlord with a Death Coil, or perhaps even a Frost Nova. And I believe they got that kill. I'm not sure who got that kill. I think it was who got that kill there. Otherwise, the Lich would have been a little bit higher. I think he'd be level 4 by now. Flute of Accuracy for the undead. So now we'll have Unholy Aura and Flute of Accuracy. Well, True Shot Aura, rather. So that is not too bad, especially on Crypt Fiends, as they do really high damage. Of course, they have that slow attack speed, but they do such high damage that the 10% will affect them greatly. And already a +3 damage helps the Lich out too, +5, +6 damage, but does have that Circle of Nobility too to take into consideration, but still quite a bit of damage. And the Death Knight here in big trouble. And if he takes a Frost Nova, will go down, loses the Death Knight there. And now a battle going on here, but unfortunately the Spirit Towers and the Nerubian Towers giving a big advantage. And the Grey Undead MassFiends has to bail. Did get a level 4 Lich, has a Dark Ranger as well. And our Blue Undead player doing just fine. Level 2 and a level 3 to a level 4. And I believe 2 level 1s. He's going to get that Death Knight out again. Not going to take too long because he's only level 1. So, of course, he revives very cheap and very quickly. Tome of Intelligence drops there for MassFiends. Ogre Magi will fall. Pendant of Energy, very nice. And we'll see who takes that. If he's going to give that to, at least hold on to that for now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gives that to the Death Knight. The Pendant of Energy now on the Lich. Tons of mana, nearly 400 mana. And that Dark Ranger, no items. I figured he was going to give that Circle of Nobility to the Dark Ranger, but he's just really stacking up that Lich, and that is certainly okay. Now the Death Knight is here with that True Shot Aura, plus 11 damage, and plus 3 damage on that Dark Ranger, and giving, of course, the 3 damage to the Fiends, as they are not upgraded yet. Now going after the Forest Troll Warlord camp here. Looks like going after the smaller camps for Staff of Silence, and that could be potentially useful. Now Staff of Silence on the Death Knight there. Casting that on the enemy Death Knight, or the Lich for that matter, will be very, very nice. I would say probably would work better on the opposing Death Knight at just a critical moment, and he would not be able to cast Death Coil like just at a critical moment when the Lich perhaps is nearly dead. Rock Golem camp here for MassFiends. And Oz moving around the map and really not doing any big creeping. A Scourge Bone Chimes now has dropped for the Death Knight, as well as a Tome of Experience. And Tome of Experience, easily the best tome, arguably the best tome to get, of course, because experience is really awesome, because you're creeping the creep camp and gaining experience, but you gain another chunk of experience from the tome. So very, very nice. And our Blue Undead player is going after some of these smaller ended creep camps, and I don't think that's working for him as well as MassFiends right now. He's not quite getting the same amount of experience, and the Lich taking the brunt of all these towers there, but takes a Death Coil, heals him right back up. And now Goblin Merchant buying something there, and what did he buy? Looks like a Scroll of Healing. And now the other tower going to go down here shortly. One more Death Coil only for the Death Knight there. And so he's really got to watch out for that. He's going to have to bail, because if he starts losing too much health there, only one Death Coil is really not, really can't really push that too far. Dark Ranger here. And if she can get some kills on these ghouls and start producing some skeletal minions, and I'm not sure if she's using Black Arrow or not. I can't really tell. Note yet, indeed, she is using Black Arrow. And so killing these really small ghouls here is really giving a ton of minions to MassFiends. And now one of these Crypt Fiends will fall there, giving a little bit of experience to Awe. And skeletal minions all over the place here. Warriors from Rod of Necromancies, and of course from that Black Arrow too. Can barely even tell the difference between them, except for the blue shields and gray shields. Now Awe backs up to the safety of the towers. Meanwhile, MassFiends here just chilling out with those 2 obsidian statues and absorbing that healing and that mana. This Lich here nearly has full mana, has almost 600 mana, so that is just an unbelievable amount of Frost Novas that will be going off. And Frost Nova on the Acolyte's a very good choice, and heavily damages all of them. And now the Dark Ranger looks like she was trying to pick off some of those acolytes, and is. And those dark arrows there producing more dark minions. Now it looks like level 2 dark minions, as they are much larger now. And Death Knight here suffering greatly and really, really low, and needs to just bail out of there. Meanwhile, trying to chase here, and this Lich can get off another Frost Nova, but he does not have the experience, or the mana rather, to do so. Did cast Silence on that Lich, but again, the Silence was wasted on that Lich, as he did not have any mana to actually cast Frost Nova, and that's why I suggested hitting the Death Knight with Silence, because just before that Lich died, he got hit with a Death Coil, which was exactly why I said to silence the Death Knight, but easier said than done, I suppose. And hindsight is, of course, 2020. So I certainly don't blame him for silencing that Lich, because if that Lich did have the mana, it would have certainly killed that Death Knight. And now Tavern reviving the Death Knight, and quite costly to do so. Of course, revives at 50% health and no mana. Now I'm going to go after the Rot Golem camp here. Skeleton minion is now popping up and going after some of these creeps, helping out, absorbing a little bit of damage. And actually not absorbing any damage, nothing's going for him. And the Death Knight there picks up Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3, which will help out quite a bit. A little bit of damage, a little bit of health. Not bad. 75 health, of course, for 3 strength. Could mean the difference between life and death. Now the MassFiends, Gray Undead player, going after the expansion again. And time again, this has failed. But he's slowly breaking down Awe. And these Spirit Towers will not last all that much longer. And now, need to get down to those Spirit Towers there. And Death Knight is very questionable here. He can't really decide what he's going to do. And there he goes, now going after the Spirit Tower. And here comes Off from behind with all those ghouls. But again, all these ghouls, although they do good against the Crypt Fiends, and now the Crypt Fiends are being upgraded. Of course, they have +4 damage now from that True Shot Aura. Death Knight is surrounded and taking huge amounts of damage. And it almost seems like this Death Knight should have the Rune Bracers, not the Lich, because the Death Knight just continuously takes unbelievable amounts of damage. And of course, these ghouls at the same time do good damage to the Crypt Fiends, but at the same time, the ghouls are easy targets for that Black Arrow. And Lich will fall here for Awe. And of course, these ghouls all turning into skeletons, and skeletons dying very quickly, but of course, quite efficient for that Dark Ranger. And definitely don't want to get small units if you see your opponent has a Dark Ranger, because it is just delicious fun for a Dark Ranger to kill all those small units and produce all kinds of fun skeletal minions. And here comes even more from these Acolytes here. The Acolytes sold the expansion in its entirety, sold everything for a little bit of money back home, and only has 830 gold left back home, so really has to watch out for that. Has a Sacrificial Pit, maybe was going Frostworms, but I don't think that's going to happen now, as he's pretty far behind here. And now here comes MassFiends pouring into the blue undead base of Awe. And only has that Death Knight. His Lich is currently dead and only halfway revived. Loses his shop there. And now the Nerubian Tower is the next target, and is being repaired, but only by 1 Acolyte there. Can't really get too many Acolytes around there. And is now being repaired and loses the Nerubian Tower. And the Death Knight has no choice but to just stand back for a little while. Otherwise, he's just going to get Frost Nova'd right down. And he's trying to heal as fast as he can. He is on Blight, only has a level 1 Unholy Aura. But I think he has Death Pact, as he is level 4 and only has that level 1. Now has level 2 Unholy Aura. And now in big trouble here. Has no more Acolytes back home. Would have to create all those Acolytes. Only has 550 in the gold mine, so I don't even think that's very efficient. 5 Acolytes at 75 apiece. Not quite the amount of 550 there, but wouldn't be all that efficient. You really wouldn't make that much. And now the Death Knight here in trouble will fall as well, and that may be GG from Awe. He does have his Frost, or his Lich out, And can Frost Nova here, but really no targets to Frost Nova, nothing that's going to die. And all had to GG out, leaving MassFiends, the Gray Undead, our winner. And again, those ghouls were just not really the unit you'd really want to use when your opponent has a Dark Ranger. I'd say ghouls would probably be the worst unit to use. Maybe archers, I suppose, too, would be an equally bad unit, as they are such a great target for the Dark Ranger's arrow there to turn them all into little skeletons. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I'll see you guys next time.